All right, Simon, so how did the idea of cashless payment in Matatus come about?
Well, it's been a long journey towards what's happening now. I actually thought we looked at the best practice in the world, and in public transport, there's serious leakages in Kenya. There is no proper accounting system. Able to
repeat that?
all
The connection just it had a slight hitch. There was no proper.
There is no proper accounting system of fares collected by the conductors and the driver, and it was very difficult to account for monies received as fare. So this prompted me and my organization or association to look for a better way of accounting system in fare collection. And I remember I traveled to Turkey to try and see their practice, because they had come from a shambled background and it was the easiest to relate with. So I was in Istanbul for about 10 days to see how their system works. And it is integrated because it is used also on the rail. So we thought we should be able to do this, and we tried to give it a local solution.
What I'm guessing is this is not the first time that this idea has come about, right?
Oh yes, it's the third time.
Oh, it's the third time, okay.
Yeah.
So why didn't it succeed the first and second time?
The first one we didn't involve the state, and it was on, we tried using a company. It became a bit expensive, and we couldn't afford, because the kind of percentage they wanted to take away from the collection revenues was too high, so we abandoned it. And then later on, we met Kenyans who have a solution, and we partnered with them and first understood how they would be able to drive it. And we approached Safaricom to be our partners. And we came up with my 1963 system, which was a card that would be used as, you would put value into the card and through Safaricom like M-Pesa, and use it to pay your fares. We had POS machines which were brought in. Unfortunately, the banks, everybody scrambled, wanted to have a space in it to be able to, have this money landing in their bank accounts. So because of that scramble and the confusion created by NTSA then, we couldn't succeed, because every bank said we need to have their own card, and we were told it must be interoperable in a way that we can use any card issued by any bank. It became a bit difficult, especially on agreeing on who to host the system that would be able to enable this to work. It went and it couldn't materialize. I remember we brought in the president to come and launch it. And the president meant very well, he meant very good. Unfortunately, he was failed by his own people in the Ministry of Transport.
So what are the new measures that have been put in place to make sure that this project is a success this time?
This time it's just started. It will take us some time before actually actualizing it, because we must first of all be able to weed off fraud, because there's money flying in the air, and we must also agree on which company to use. It can't be a government issue. It cannot be them to decide. Stakeholders must be involved in making decision on which company to use, and we see their terms. The biggest problem is everybody wants to come and kill and put in percentages that are not acceptable. So I believe there is a goodwill among stakeholders. It's only that they need to be involved deeply on decision making and agreements, not to be imposed on us.
And speaking of stakeholders, what are the benefits? What benefits does this type of payment system bring to all players in the sector, from the customers to now the owners of the Matatus, to actually everybody?
Well, this would be the greatest thing to happen in public transport, especially to investors in public transport. We've never had an accounting system. We don't know how much money has been collected. And this by itself will weed off. Money will be outlawed. Nobody would be able to, it would be an offense to pay cash or any person to receive cash. So, which at the end of it, money will come to one position. That is number one. We will be able to receive all the revenues collected from the buses. Number two is public transport is known for an open corrupt practice, and which graduates to misbehavior. The people we have employed in public transport do break rules and regulations intentionally because there is money in the vehicle. And policemen would even encourage them to do that because they know they want to get the money which is inside the vehicle. Money is dished out without the owner's consent or even knowing that it has happened. So this as I said, number two would kill corrupt practices that is involved in public transport business. We know public transport loses hundreds of millions. Every time they are losing. In a day alone, we're talking of tens of millions lost by public transport. And this would completely help the government do away with the corrupt practices involved in public transport. Number three, it would help in behavior. You know now that there is no money to be dished out. Every driver would behave. They would comply with regulations and traffic rules, because they wouldn't be able to remove themselves from misbehaving without money. And if they have to pay money, they have to pay monies from their pockets. So this will help in instilling discipline to the crews who are already present in public transport. Number three is that we would be able also to structure salaries well, because right now in public transport, drivers and conductors do pay themselves salaries without our knowledge. We don't know how much they earn. They apportion themselves that money and give you the remains. So these are the benefits, and there are many more.
Now, Simon, lastly, this cashless payment system would work very well, especially during this particular time, because we are fighting the pandemic. So how soon do you think it can be implemented, fully implemented on the ground?
I wish it would happen like yesterday, because we would benefit so much. One, we know that money handling could help spread corona or COVID-19. So it would be advantageous to the crew that they have to have a system that they don't have any contact in terms of money changing hands or money being paid to them and them giving out change. This can be a great agent of spread of COVID-19. So we are praying that NTSA and stakeholders agree, and right now NTSA has asked bidders to place in their bids in terms of, so that they can be awarded the same. So as soon as this is done, that we'll be able to make agreements with both NTSA. We can't really point.
What's the timeline we're looking at?
Right now, because of this pandemic issues, is that we are not able to get everything like as soon as we can. But I believe it's going to be soon. We've not set dates, and we are asking NTSA to make sure that there is involvement of us in terms of from the word go starting, so that it can be pushed fast.
Thank you so much, Simon. I do appreciate you giving us your time. Say hello to your family, and hopefully you will be coming back to Nairobi soon, right?
I'll do that. We hope. We are not in any hurry to come back until you have good structures and systems that can take care of COVID-19 not to maul us.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a lovely
Thank you.
afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.